Welcome back. We are ACI Course 11, Class 6. Still working on the perfection of joyous effort. On January 30th, 2026. Let's gather our minds here as we usually do. Please bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom. And see them there with you. They are gazing at you with their unconditional love for you, smiling at you with their holy great compassion, their wisdom, radiating from them, that beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize how the worldly ways we try to help fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help them in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Working with karma and emptiness, we glimpse how it's possible. And so I invite you to grow your wish into a longing. And that longing into an intention. With that intention, We turn our minds back to our precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet, to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please, please, teach me that, show me that. Help me to become like you. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we, so sorry. We think of the pure world. They are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands, and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may all beings totally awaken for the benefit of every single other. Sorry, I've tried all my tricks with this dumb cough. So maybe we just have to be tortured through it. Please forgive me. So, last class, Master Shanti Deva is helping us both recognize we might get some discouragement as we go along on our path. Anybody met that? And then he gives us all these different pieces of information, like clues to how to work with it when we get it. So number 1, don't beat yourself up. It's another stage of the path. So last class we learned that one thing that we can use to overcome our discouragement is to recall that we have Buddha nature, and that because we have Buddha nature, it technically is inevitable that we will come to see ourselves as fully enlightened beings someday. And that's supposed to go, okay, I'll overcome my discouragement. So we learn that Buddha nature has these 2 aspects to it. The innate Buddha nature and the Buddha nature that's developable. And basically, what it means is conscious beings, every conscious being of which we are ones, that mind that is the consciousness is eternal. And so it is eternally lacking having a nature of its own. It's eternally projected results of past things it saw itself do. It gets so slippery in English, but I think we're catching on to the idea that our mind has no nature. It is changed by everything it perceives, and everything that it perceives its subject side doing. And so, because it lacks its own nature, we can plant such good seeds in it that when those seeds ripen, they force it to perceive itself as omniscient, ultimate love, ultimate compassion, perceiving all existing things, all existing beings, what they need to take up and what they need to give up. And that's the only way we become Buddha, is by our seeds ripening, forcing us to perceive ourselves as that, in the same way that our seeds are ripening, forcing us to perceive ourselves as we do right now. So the fact that our mind is empty is like the basis or the core piece that anytime we're getting discouraged, oh man, I can't do this, I never do it well enough, go back. I have Buddha nature. All it takes is planting the right seeds. You can't plant just one final seed to become Buddha. They're growing, they're accumulating. Every moment of every day is an opportunity to try. And we plant seeds by trying more than by what the result of what we do. And that's really a difficult thing. We think, I only planted a seed for happiness if what I did for the other person made them happy. But that's not accurate, because what we do in the moment doesn't bring what happens in the next moment. That moment, that result that we're having came from before. So all we need to do is try to make somebody happy. And then try again. And then try again. And again and again and again. And that's the be here now thing, right? Be present. Our awareness of what our reaction wants to do and our decision. Do I want to do that? Or do I want to do something else? Based on understanding, whatever I see myself try to do is planting the seed that will make my result. Whether we're the one doing to someone or we're the one reacting to someone doing to me, we're in the same situation. We're going to act. So no need to get discouraged, said Lord Buddha. Bees and worms and flies can get enlightened if they just try. So can you. Don't worry. Have fun. Okay. So Master Shantidevi, he goes on to say, we hear all those stories of the great bodhisattvas, and they're doing things like plucking out their eyeball when somebody asks, or the story of Arya Nagarjuna, long story short, the king's son, the prince, is due to become king when the king dies. The king's getting really old, but he's not anywhere close to dying. He's like not even aging. And the prince's mother is starting to think my son's going to get too old to be king before he gets to be king. I want my son to be king. She says to her son, you know that Nagarjuna guy, he's a great bodhisattva. He'll do anything you ask him to. So I suggest you go to him and say that I would be deeply happy to receive his head on a platter, because she knew that the king and Nagarjuna had some kind of connection such that the king would stay king as long as Arya Nagarjuna was living. And you know, Nagarjuna is said to have lived 500 years. So I guess this wife, mother of the prince, knew that. And she said, you know, I've got to get Arya Nagarjuna to go away so the king will die so my son can be king. That was the story of her logic. So, you know, the prince is convinced somehow. He goes to Nagarjuna and says, you know, my mom would really, really dearly love your head on a platter. We know you're a great bodhisattva. You know, can I kill you? And Nagarjuna goes, sure. And the prince tries in all these different ways, and he doesn't die, and he doesn't die. Finally, the prince says, you know, I'm not going to be able to please my mother. And Nagarjuna says, okay, here, take this blade of grass and slice me right here, and that'll do the job. And the prince takes this kusha grass, you know how soft kusha grass is, and he goes, and Nagarjuna's head rolls away. And it's a longer story what happens, but we hear stories like that, and then we go, I don't think I can be a bodhisattva like that. If that's what I'm going to be called to do, I don't think I can do it. Maybe 17 million lifetimes from now, but I don't know. I don't think so. So I do when I read those stories, the Bodhisattva stories, where we read them to be inspired, but frankly, I just get discouraged reading them. It's like I can't do that. And Master Shantideva, of course, knows that some of us get that kind of reaction. And so he's going to use his logic and scripture to show us that we are thinking wrongly about those situations of giving your flesh or giving your body or giving your eyeball. We think those have to be painful, those have to be hard. And he says we're misunderstanding the process of this becoming a Buddha that we aspire to, but are still misunderstanding. Because by the time we find ourselves in a circumstance where somebody will ask for our eyeball, to give that eyeball would be no more difficult as to give carrots or potatoes now. Is it painful to give carrots or potatoes now? No. In fact, we're kind of eager to do so, right? Can you imagine being at the point where giving your eyeball would be as easy as giving a carrot or a potato, right? It isn't now. And beautifully, the whole system is that we're not expected to go find somebody and give our eyeball to them on our bodhisattva path. We're encouraged to push ourselves in our practice of giving, moral discipline, etc., but never push to the place where we would regret it. Regret of a kind deed is worse than not doing the deed at all, in the effect that it has on our minds going forward. So he asks this question: when the Bodhisattva gives their eyeball or their head, now what's going on here? Does it hurt them? Wait just a second. I thought I opened these two both at the same time. Have them both on my screen. But I don't see them both here. Well, that's frustrating. Okay, I have to do it this way. Come on, fingers. Do your job here. All right, do you see Master Shantideva's verse? Since they have stopped bad deeds, the they is those bodhisattvas that we're talking about. Since they have stopped bad deeds, they feel no pain. And because they are wise, there is no dislike. This is due to the fact that thinking of things the wrong way and doing negative deeds harm the body and mind. So as we are practicing with carrots and potatoes and then dollar bills and then, things that are more were more valuable to us in our acts of giving, things get less valuable to us, and we're more happy to give them away when we have the opportunity to give in a situation where it could be of benefit for someone. As we are doing so, our attachment to our things decreases because we're understanding that those things are not sources of our happiness, security, and comfort as we thought they were. That actually we might come to the place where those things that we used to go for comfort and security are now actually burdens. And we're looking for someplace, right? Who can I give this to that it could be useful for? Because for me now, it's a liability. And you've heard the story when we lived in this big, beautiful house in the hills. And then we loved it, loved it, loved it. And then we met the Dharma and we were going to Diamond Mountain every weekend. It was, a 2 hours drive. The house that we loved so dearly became a burden. It was just too much to take care of and still work and still serve at Diamond Mountain. And so this thing we thought we would live there until we died, it became a burden. And it's like, we got to put this thing on the market. It's just too much. And it was so curious because, we moved there and made it perfect. And then how could we have ever seemingly suddenly had this different relationship to it? But then it was no struggle at all to leave that place. It wasn't, I have to go I have to go closer to Diamond Mountain. No, I have to. It was like, help me do it. Let me do it. It doesn't happen by just deciding, I'm a bodhisattva, I can give my eyeball. It happens by way of growing our understanding, growing our wisdom, doing little uh, kindness deeds in the face of where we might have been more selfish. And as those old seeds of circumstances that would trigger a selfish negative reaction are being burned off and replanted with kindness, there are fewer of them to ripen. And so those unpleasant circumstances, they seem to stop happening. But son of a gun, the same people that used to push your buttons, stop doing it. And our old way of thinking would say, wow, how did you change so much that you're not the irritating jerk at work anymore? You're actually quite a nice guy. And they didn't change at all, right? We changed. And it's hard to get that because we feel the same as we were before. But it comes from our own efforts, little efforts regularly to catch ourselves in our old reaction and deciding, is that the deed I want to plant in my mind in response to the circumstance? Really, technically, whether it's a pleasant circumstance or an unpleasant circumstance. But here we're talking about unpleasant circumstances because unpleasant circumstances, the reason we call them unpleasant is because we don't like them. And we don't like them because they bring us some kind of discomfort. Call it pain, call it suffering. When we stop reacting in our same old selfish way to things that are unpleasant, we stop replanting things being unpleasant. At some point, it takes, I don't know how to say it, bigger unpleasantness seeds to trigger unpleasantness than they did before. And by the time we're at that place, what we would have called really big unpleasantnesses, we still will see as this place in which we can plant really strong kindness seeds, right? Seeds for our Buddhahood seeds. So then our aversion to things that we would call unpleasant is decreasing, right? Our tolerance is increasing. Remember studying patience chapter. It would take a whole lot more discomfort before we encounter a situation where we would still be willing to do some kind of unkindness to get it to stop or to avoid it. You know what I'm trying to describe is that what we consider something that causes me pain is changing. It used to be when we were little kids, you fall down, scrape your knee, and you think you're gonna die. And then mom kisses it and it gets better. And then the next time it's not so bad. Same as adult humans. We experience things we think are terrible. We survive it. The next time around, it's not so bad. But we can do that more intentionally by applying our growing wisdom and growing compassion, our bodhicitta, to not respond negatively to negative things. And so actually go on to find ourselves not seeing those same situations as negative. Does the Bodhisattva feel pain as he pulls his eyeball out? We think he has to feel pain, but he doesn't have to suffer. Wait, we learned that earlier, course 6, Master King of Kalinka's story. Yes, the Bodhisattva had pain, but he didn't suffer. Now, course 11, Master Shantideva is saying, our karma is our goodness can grow such that it wouldn't be any more harmful to me to pull out my eyeball as to give a carrot or a potato. When the seeds in my mental continuum react to a circumstance of being able to give my eye to somebody because they asked for it, is such a great opportunity, such a positive thing that they wouldn't even feel pain. It doesn't matter that you can't really give somebody an eyeball and they can't stick it in their head and then see out of it. The Bodhisattva doesn't care about what the person's going to do with what they do for the person. You want my eyeball? Great, here. Because all I want to do is bring them a little bit of happiness. It's so hard, right? We hear that story of Master Virupa, and I think it was Virupa. And that, anyway, I won't go there. So Geshe-la said, is the town that you live in a Buddha paradise? I hope you all go, yeah. Mine's not. It's close to it, but it's not. And the reason it's not is only because the seeds coming out of my mind that make Tucson is still making it Sonoran Desert that gets really hot in the summertime. Is getting too many people, is really dusty. Like the worst part about it is it's so dusty. And the only reason it's not a paradise is because of the seeds out of my mind. And then, so all I have to do is change my mind, and where I live now will be Buddha paradise. And we want to say, yeah, Buddha paradise for you, but not for everybody else who lives in Tucson. But what other Tucson is there than the one I know, the one I project? It's the one that I project for everybody. I project everybody in it. So when my mind is forcing me to project Buddha paradise, it doesn't matter whether I'm in Tucson or Kachara paradise or out on planet Pluto. It will be paradise for me and everyone in it, not just me. So it's not that in becoming Buddha and being in our Buddha paradise, we will have to, go out past star number 432 and turn right and go 20 light years. Buddha paradise is not anywhere other than where we are. When our mind seeds force us to perceive ourselves that way, that's where it will be. We're not perceiving Buddha paradise, if you're not, only because we have obstacles to it. We don't have the seeds for it. And it's not because of a few big negative selfish deeds we've done, or even the great big selfishnesses that we might do. It's because of the constant low-level negativity of misunderstanding that things, others, self, and everything that happens between us are nothing but ripening results of our own past behaviors between them. Because of the emptiness of our mind and experiences, nothing is paradise or not paradise from it. Everything is paradise or not paradise from the one perceiving. It's the constant low-level misunderstanding that blocks us from making the seeds that ripen as Buddha me and Buddha paradise, Buddha you and Buddha paradise. Those tiny negative seeds are the cause then also of our mistaken reaction to whatever experience we're having, thinking that the experience is pleasant because the experience is pleasant, instead of recognizing this experience is pleasant because of my past kindness. I want to share it. This experience is unpleasant because I did something similar. I'm sorry. Whoever, wherever, I don't even know, remember. Doesn't matter. Don't have to remember. It's happening to me. I had to have created it. What can I do to create different? When we don't understand that, when something pleasant is coming or we have it, we want more, we grasp to it, we grasp to the things that we think brought it about. And we're willing to do some kind of unkindness, some kind of selfishness to get it and or keep it. With unpleasant things, same. We're willing to do some kind of unkindness to avoid it or to get it to stop. And when we do that really well, we are called effective human beings. But the problem is we just perpetuate samsara, perpetuate the broken cycle of suffering, obvious suffering, suffering of change, pervasive suffering. It is the pervasive suffering, that low-level misunderstanding. Okay. So as long as we keep thinking in this wrong way, that thing of that experience is the cause of my pleasure or displeasure, we will keep doing deeds that we don't think are negative, but are negative. And those deeds harm our body and mind, which means those seeds planted by those deeds will ripen as future circumstances that hurt. That's where I'm trying to go with this. As we grow in our Bodhisattva progress, we recognize what are negative deeds. We are training ourselves to avoid them and do the opposite. And that means we're burning off the seeds that would ripen as something harmful to our body and mind, and planting seeds for circumstances that are pleasurable to body and mind, that then help me perpetuate the kindness that I do towards others. So sooner or later, that bodhisattva has so few seeds that are negative that they can't have an experience that would harm their body and mind, even if they have the experience that someone comes to say, it would make my mother really, really happy if you would give me your head to give to her. Right? You don't go, wow, how can my head make your mother happy? You go, okay, here, right? Because your seeds are so different. You're not identifying yourself with your head and your body anymore. You don't have the seeds for that to be something that seems impossible or that is something to avoid. Right? He even says they feel no pain. Their wisdom means they have no dislike. It's something to think about. We kind of think that pain would be the bottom line. If we have a uncomfortable feeling, it's painful. It's something we want to avoid. But really, it's a sensation. And we're reacting to that sensation as if it's something harmful, and we don't like harmful, and so we call it pain. So by definition, something negative is painful. But technically, the pain, right? It's like, at what point does it become pain? Have you ever like looked down and seen that you have a bruise on your leg and you don't even remember bumping it? And it happens a lot when you're older, but even when you're younger, that can happen. And you go, wow, what did I do to get that bruise? When it takes, a bump to get a bruise, but we didn't even notice the bump. It wasn't painful, but we have the marks of something that happened that should have been painful. So we can, right? It does happen already that things that we would call pain happen, but they don't hurt. So then is it pain? At what point in something being unpleasurable does it turn into pain? It's worth thinking about at some point, especially if we have chronic physical pain. So we're talking about physical and mental pain here. So this one is in response to, I can't ever be a bodhisattva like that. If I have to, then I don't think I can do it, is what he's addressing, that idea. Oh man, I can't ever do that. The reason those high-level Buddhist bodhisattvas can do that is because they gave away lots of carrots and potatoes that didn't hurt and wasn't hard. And they pushed themselves, is what he's saying. Okay. So this low-level negativity, it has two aspects to it. The first aspect is the belief that we have in a self-existent me, self-existent mind. That's what I was just describing. The reason we have the aversion and the attraction is because we believe there's a me here, independent of what's I'm experiencing going on. And there's the other out there that we are perceiving as the source of either pleasure or displeasure. And so we react towards that other. As long as I'm believing that that other is in them from them, then I am not aware that they are in fact a ripening result of something my own mind saw itself do before. If we believe that there's a me here that's having these perceptions, then there's a me here that needs to be protected, that needs to get what it needs and wants. That low-level belief, self-existent me, is the term that we use, is what perpetuates this need to protect it and to keep it alive. Is there a self-existent me? So again, when we say self-existent, it sounds like it means, is there a me that exists independent of any other factor? And we know, no, right? I know I exist dependent on lots of factors. But in highest school, the factor that we're talking about is my existence dependent upon the seeds ripening. And that is very difficult to be aware of in the moment. In fact, we're not even aware of it in the moment that it's happening until we are 8th level Bodhisattva. Wait, I lost my train of thought. So when we're using the term self-existent me, what we're training ourselves to know is that by self-existent, it means I believe there's a me independent of the projection happening right now. We think there's the me that's doing the projecting. And so outside of the projection. And when we even use the word, I perceive myself being kind, it's reinforcing that idea. I'm outside of it, and I see this happening here. And I'm trying to remember that all of that's a result of my past seeds. It's my projection. But we're still saying, yeah, but I'm not part of it. Makes me more real than them. We're going to go there in a little bit. And that means that the me I know myself as is kind of stuck. If I'm outside the projection, how do I change my me by way of projections if I don't really believe I'm just part of it? And then just say, oh, me is nothing but a projection. Whoa, that gets really slippery. Because, well, what me is it then? Because projections are going 65 per instant, right? And it's like, well, I can't go there. When in fact, we want to go there, right? We want to be growing this effortless identity in our no self nature. Because coming from that place, we are able to see that all I want to do is to outflow kindness for those other projections, right? We are identifying in this different way. That will be a pleasant result of kindness. It's the only way to get there. And that's not so far away from the projection Buddha me and Buddha paradise emanating. So this wrong thinking, it's really not wrong thinking, it's a wrong belief. And beliefs are within or underneath our thinking. And they push our thinking that we don't think is wrong, but makes us choose behaviors to protect our self-existent me, in which we are willing to be somehow unkind. And that perpetuates the misbelief that doing that protected me in some way. And so we'll do it again. We don't know it's a misbelief or we wouldn't do it. It's hard to change a belief. Second factor in this low-level radiation that blocks our perceiving ourselves as Buddha me and Buddha paradise right now or tomorrow is the hurting any living being. The term is the killing and such bad deeds, meaning those 10 non-virtues, out of which come all the non-virtues that we could ever do that perpetuate samsara. The willingness to be unkind, to protect our self-existent me, is the other half of the belief in self-existent me. Self-existent me and other means there's others that are good things and there are others that are bad things, and me wants to avoid bad and get good. So we do unkind things to get this self-existent me what it wants. And here's the rub. Is there such a thing as your self-existent me? No. So we're doing all these deeds for something that doesn't even exist. And it's like, no, but I do so exist. I do so enjoy triple berry pie. I do so dislike, I don't know, somebody being mean to me. Yeah, but it's not my self-existent me having those experiences because there's no such thing. There's only the me ripening those seeds. So there is the me planting new seeds. What would I like to plant? What would I like to garden? Right? It's so beautiful as we're catching on. It makes us so powerful in the moment. Even as we're just making a cup of tea. Right? What's on our mind changes the seeds that we plant. And it should be so easy. Oh, I get it. Okay. I'll just have bodhicitta in my mind all the time. Hey, the more we do, the smoother this goes. But we can't just turn on our bodhicitta either unless we have the seeds for it. All right. So the belief in self-existence and so the negative deeds that we do are the two things that perpetuate me in samsara. And that perpetuates things being unpleasant and pleasant that wear out, and then you die. Bodhisattvas are stopping that cycle. And we can too, is his point. How do we do that? Right? Technically, to break that belief in self-existent me and other happens at our direct perception of emptiness. We are chipping away at the belief as we grow our path of accumulation and our path of preparation, our renunciation of our old ways, and our training in the new ways. But we don't actually lose that belief until we experience it directly. And then we don't automatically see things differently, but we no longer believe that things exist in the way they appear, which is out there coming at a me that's here. And if we're not believing it anymore, we're not replanting those seeds for believing it anymore, and we never can ever again. And that's when we do that with the mind imbued with bodhicitta, then our task is to get used to living according to that new understanding, even as everything we experience feels the same as it did before, looks the same as it did before. But now we know differently. And so our responses are different. Our responses are done without the belief in self-existent me, self-existent other. And that's a huge impact on our minds as we are aware. So before that, how do we chip away at this low level wrong belief and so wrong choice of behaviors? We're taught, be more kind, be more intentionally kind. We are all already kind people. It's a little bit hard to think, how can I be more kind? I'm really pretty kind. I'm going out of my way for other people almost all the time. Yeah, that's the rub, almost. Let's find the subtleties. But rather than doing so as oh, I'm just not good enough until I'm ultimately kind for everybody, make it more like a game. It's like, yeah, I'm already a good player. Let's see where I can fine tune it. Can I anticipate something for someone? And maybe I'll get it wrong, but I tried to bring them, a cup of tea that they would like. And just because they go, I really don't like that kind of tea, it doesn't ruin the effort to bring them something. Next time I'll bring them something different, right? We can fine tune our kindnesses in a fun kind of way rather than in a oppressive, I have to be gooder, I have to be gooder. Mm-hmm. So be kind, study emptiness, meditate on it, think about it. Try to explain it to yourself as if you don't believe it. And ask yourself all the questions. Go through the explanations. Let yourself have the yeah, but, yeah, but, yeah, but. It's fun to try. Don't expect I have to get the explanation exactly right. Explore, 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 explore. And then as you grow your understanding, try it on for size. And what that looks like is to be in a situation and try to get oh, this is empty, it's seeds ripening. And so, what do I want to plant here? And that reactive urge, right, it'll still happen, but we use it to decide, do I want to act according to the reaction or do I want to choose something else? The ability to do that comes from kindness. Our study of emptiness triggers the understanding I can choose something else. And then the guidelines of the behavior, those 10 things to avoid, flip them around and they are 10 things to try to do. I find that easier to think of the 10 positives and get in my mind, what's it like to do that? What's it like to protect life? What's it like to protect others' property? And that when I've got this mental affliction arising, instead of going, what do I don't want to do? It's like, no, what do I want to do? Bunk, go do it. Geshe-la says, if we do this to an extreme, we transform ourselves into a Buddha. If we just dabble, we'll still transform ourselves into a Buddha someday. It'll just take a whole lot longer. And it's up to us to decide how fast we want to go. So he goes on to give us 4 more forces to engage in our support of our joyous effort. 4 powers. The armies used for achieving the goals of living kind are will, steadfastness, joy, and finally leaving off. Will is developed by fearing pain and engaging in the contemplation of the benefits that it gives. Eliminate then what acts against us. Work hard is to use the various forces of will, confidence, joy, and also leaving off, and being engaged, and the feeling of self-command in order to increase your capacity for effort. So thank goodness we have commentaries and Geshe Michael to even explain the commentaries to us. These four forces. The first one is Mupe Top. It's the force of willpower. Ordinarily, oh, it's break time. Let me do willpower and then we'll stop. Ordinarily, we say willpower is this self-discipline that we can force ourselves into something that, the other part of us doesn't really want to do. That willpower, we understand, actually doesn't work, that kind of willpower. We can't willpower our way to not having pain when the dentist drills our tooth. Willpower won't work. The willpower he's talking about here is our determination to respond by way of our understanding of karma and emptiness. So it's not a willpower that can change something. It's a willpower that keeps us choosing our response with as high a wisdom, compassion as we can. And it turns into this sense of the determination to continue to learn and study and work with what we learn, particularly learning about karma and how karma works, so that we can get these guidelines for behavior choices so clearly in our mind that we don't have to stop and try to think them out when we're in the midst of a circumstance, because by then we've already reacted. So in our study and learning and thinking, we kind of make a mental map of, in circumstances where somebody's yelling at me and I know I'm going to feel hurt and disrespected, how I usually react is blah, blah, blah. And I want to imagine myself being able to react in this other way instead. And I do that not in the midst of the situation, but either on cushion time or contemplation time. And then when the circumstance comes up, hopefully that kicks in and it's like, oh, here I am. I can try it on for size. That willpower, the willpower to keep myself trying to use what I'm learning to change my behavior. Okay, let's take a break. Okay, the second force he suggests we gather in the verse, Geshe says confidence. When he was giving the class, the Dempe Top, he translated as steadfast, the power of steadfast, being like a boulder in the river. Even if a flood comes by, the boulder doesn't budge. It's so steadfast. And here Master Shantideva is saying, or the commentaries are at least are saying, look, we are at a certain point in our lives and we've met the Dharma. We're inspired by its message. And we recognize that we only have a certain amount of time left in this life. Even if we still believe that, I'm likely to live to a ripe old age. I expect to live to be 93. That's what the palm reader said when I was in my 30s. So I choose to believe it. So even if we have that idea, still, some of us are halfway there, if not more. And he says, look back. What have we done with life? No, we've wasted so much of it. He goes so far to say we've wasted it on our careers, we've wasted it on our families, we've wasted it on grasping after those pleasures. He doesn't mean literally have regret for having had a family and a career, but he means recognize that in all our efforts in those families and career, they were all based on getting the things that would bring us pleasure and avoiding the things that bring us displeasure from a wrong point of view. So we went to things for pleasure, entertainment, success, that the things we did to get them may or may not be seeds that will bring them to us in the future. We just misunderstood stuff in our whole previous lifetime. And so now that we know, now make some steadfast determination what I'm going to do with the rest of this precious human life. And make that determination clear. So maybe part of that new determination is some new virtuous project we want to take on, because we understand it's all about planting seeds. So I want a recurring circumstance where I can plant my virtue again and again and again in order to create Buddhahood for everybody. And so we go in search of these virtuous projects, right? This is coming out of Geshe Michael's mouth, who's a project guy. But any kind of, right, like new career path, not a necessarily for money career, but for a Buddhahood career path. He says, before you choose that direction you're going to put your life in, be sure that you have the resources, maybe not meaning the physical resources, but the emotional, mental resources to complete the task you're going to take on before you say, this is what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. He wants us to make this is what I'm going to do with the rest of my life, but to not do that until we're absolutely sure that we can complete it, or sure that we will try to complete it. Because actually, whether we complete it or not before we die is out of our control. But the tendency is, we meet something new, we're enthusiastic, we throw ourselves into it, then it gets hard or it gets boring and something else catches our attention and off we go to something else. Even with virtuous projects, we do that. And he's pointing out that a virtuous project is not a virtuous project if at some point we leave it and go off to some other supposedly virtuous project. Then he's saying there's this power of steadfastness or confidence that keeps us on our path, that is an antidote to this belief in self-existence and the wrong deeds we do, that is the cause of our ongoing suffering, that is why we get discouraged. So pick something, devote ourselves to it, and until its completion. You can see the seeds they're wanting us to plant. If we decide I'm going to become Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings, we want to stay on that path until we do it, no matter how many lifetimes it takes. So here in this joyous effort section of learning, he's saying if we're going to make that determination, well, then you're on the path. You can't decide, I'll do it later, or no, this isn't the path for me. Not because Mahayana Buddhism is the only way, we know that, but because of the impact on our own mind of making a determination to do something and then changing our mind. Like that's gonna be a big blocker. I've done it before, lots of times, even in this life. And he's saying, don't do it with your bodhisattvahood. Don't do that with your whatever it is you're going to do with the rest of your life. Now, once you choose it, be like the boulder no matter what happens. And so, you know, it might be a helpful exercise to sit down before your altar with your holy being and have a discussion with them at some point. Because all of us, yeah, most of us have already committed ourselves to the path. We've taken vows. No, we're on the path. But have we really said to our own mind, you know, I'm in this until the transformation happens, God damn it, nothing, right? Nothing can take me off this path. Have we really said that to ourselves? Have we really made that pledge to our holy being? There is nothing that can take me away from this path. And it's like, I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm not saying Buddha ever said to do it, but I'm saying my own mind, right, would that imprint to check in there and say, am I really ready to make that commitment? Right? It's more powerful than getting married because we're talking over lifetimes. Did I just freeze? Somebody move. Okay, I'll wait. There we go. We're back. I try to stop talking as soon as I see somebody freeze, and then it's like, ah. All right, we're back again. Okay. Oh, maybe they didn't want me to say that. Okay, next one. Gawe force, joy, the force of joy. Geshe called it total delight in our efforts on our path. Total delight in our project of creating Buddha me and Buddha paradise. He described it as when little kids are having such a good time doing whatever they're doing, that mom hollers at them from the kitchen, time for dinner, come for dinner. And they don't come. She hollers again. By the third or fourth time, she's mad at them because she thinks they're ignoring her. But from their side, they're so engrossed in what they're doing, they don't even hear her. So they weren't ignoring her at all. They didn't hear it. It's like, can we be so engrossed in our efforts to plant, 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 plant that we aren't even aware of those negative, yucky circumstances. Like that, everything that's in our face is just changing. Can our delight in our practice be so engaging that can our delight in our practice be so engaging that not, no matter how, no matter what's coming at us, right? Somebody has to keep moving. That nothing could rock us from it. Nothing could make us go, oh, I give up, even for the moment. The force of taking total delight. Fourth one, the power of leaving off. Leaving off means we will, it is effort to study, meditate, practice, track our behavior. Really, the full-on moment by moment tracking, it's a mental engagement that is exhausting. It can get tiring, and we need a break. And this power of leaving off is the ability to recognize when we need a break, what gives us the refreshment in that break, and then when we've had enough and we can jump back in. So that does take some exploration and training. How many movies does it take to have let go of all of our practices and then get back on the horse of our awareness? How many novel readings does it take? You find out. Maybe it's just a 20-minute walk is enough. Eventually, that what we called mental effort will become more and more automatic, and it won't be effort. And that then when we go to our experience that are meant to be for our rest, we're using those too also, right, as seed planting behaviors. But at that point, it won't be, oh, I'm working so hard, I need a rest. This is just another way that I'm offering my experience to the world. But until we're there, give yourself a rest. Know when you need to do it, how much it takes. Find the things that give you that relief and that uplift, but then don't stay there. Leave them off and get back to the intensity of the practice is what he's saying. So we overcome our discouragement by giving ourselves some time off, he says. That's nice. He goes on then to quote a sutra, Buddha Sutra, the Dorje Gyatso Diamond Victory Banner Sutra. Is that this one? "16 on being unstoppable." This picks up on that force of steadfastness that I was saying. Before you take on a new project, make sure that you have the resources to complete it before you decide that's what I'm going to do. Having this attitude gives us the confidence and pride. Let me see if there's more here. No, here. The confidence and pride of a victorious army. Like a victorious army has confidence and pride because they've already won. Maybe they didn't have the confidence and pride until they were on the other end. But Buddha is saying our confidence is fed by taking on projects that we know we can complete and then completing them. It makes sense. But it's growing a state of mind called Nagyal. I guess I wanna show you the vocabulary here.
Tamasarani.
Yes.
Roxana asked if you can set up again the translation.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Wait, it says it's on. Oh, here, manage. Got it. Got it. Which one, Roxana? The one with the picture or the one with the green R?
Oh, the one where you see me. The pictured one is the one that's recording.
Okay, got it.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. Yeah. Wait, I just goofed that. There we go. Wait. It says you're already on.
Really?
Yeah.
Leti, ¿me escuchas? Sí, okay, it's on. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, these are ones we've already done.
Bien.
Here's what I want to show you.
Esto es lo que yo deseo mostrarles.
Wait. Yeah. This is what I wanted to show you. Nagyal.
Esto es lo que quería mostrarles. Nyadge.
Wait, Roxana, I'm hearing you.
Then I'm not in the translation bar. That's why.
I don't know what to do there. Turn that off. Turn this on. Manage. English. Let's do this. End it. Start over. Still not. Got it now? Okay. Thank you. Yeah, right. I don't hear. Okay. Alrighty. Nagel. This is what I wanted you to see. Nagel means pride. Literally, it means me king. That attitude of me king, it means I'm more important than you, which means my needs come first, which of course would color our behavior towards others. And there are many subtleties of this Nagel. And there's an ignorant Nagel, and there's a wisdom Nagel. And so it's a word that we'll bump up against again and again and again. Nagel, it means meeking. Mm. So it's like, think of it as maybe a teeter-totter or a pendulum. And this Nagel can swing to something that's really, really negative, a negative influence on us. And it can be something that's a really powerful, strong confidence that allows us to point us in the direction of doing kinder and kinder deeds, which makes our Nagel swing to this other side. That's a really, really strong wisdom Nagel. And then we get overconfident, and we then lose, like we get overconfident, and our still believing in self-existent me starts to think that this really kind me is just my new qualities inherent in me. And, they go wrong. They boost our self-confidence beyond just confidence, and they slide back into, oh, well, then I'm better than you, or I'm more important than you, and you should listen to what I say because I know better. And right, these happen in subtle ways. Well, it's common that when we're first meeting the Dharma and understanding about mental seeds and our behavior, we want to share it with everybody because it's like, wow, look, this is the secret to how you can change things. And so we tend to go to other people we know and love and say, you have to act like this instead of that. I'm talking to myself here again. And they may or may not want to hear it, depending on how we've reacted when somebody has come to us and said, you have to do this, this, this. Right? Or, oh, wow, good idea. And our Nagel can make us impose ourselves and our beliefs on others. And that imposing is planting seeds that, of course, will ripen as we feeling imposed by others in some future time. Will we like that? Probably not. So this pride, confidence, in our practice and our growing worldview into ways that, in all good intention, we are imposing things on others, rather than using our growing worldview to try to be helpful. And so we may be in the same situation trying to be helpful versus imposing our ideas on somebody. Maybe it's just the words we use, or maybe our kindness is looking more as worldly ways of being kind, as in our mind we're thinking, I'm doing this worldly kindness in order to bring this being and me to that ultimate wisdom. We're showing by example our worldview rather than trying to impose it on someone. And the level of our pride, right, is what is an influencer on the extent, on the behavior choices that we make. We want strong confidence, but we don't want that strong confidence to go push ourselves over to a negative kind of pride. Master Shantideva goes into the karmic results that we get from acting from ignorant pride. And to understand those helps us understand what our ignorant pride looks like. And then we can flip it around and say, what can my growing wisdom pride, how can I use that to help others, rather than use it to impose things on others? So here's the list of the karmic results of ignorant pride. The Niendor tree, Yide Chom Longmu, Zowat Shenwei Gyurpa. Can't get them all on one page. I'm going to show them to you and then talk about them in English, obviously. Shepa Lempa, Mis Sukmi Dukpa Nyam Jungwa, and Shengi Nyepa. And then this is something different. All right, so in these different results of ignorant Nagyal, this first one, Dendor tree, it means pride will drag us to the three lower realms. Pride will drag us to the three lower realms. Arrogance, thinking we're better than others and treating others from that attitude. If one of those seeds is what ripens at the moment of death, we find ourselves in the position where we have no power to have confidence, no power to have pride. Hell realm, hungry ghost, animal realm. Secondly, even if we manage to project another human life, past, pride. Pride will ripen as you know what if I shut my video off?
Yeah, I think they will help. Probably
Will it
prefer
help?
yeah, I think because the data is bigger with the video. So
Okay.
once you close it, you'll be less data transmitting.
Okay, I'm gonna try that. Otherwise, we'll never finish. Okay. There I am. Okay. So in the life that our pride is ripening, we'll have a life that we just can't be happy. Third one, if we do manage to get a human life, that pride will make it such. I'm still losing you. Our financial prosperity will be ruined. We'll be beggars.
Yeah, maybe you want to turn off the screen also, just to let the audio to run. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Chris. It's interesting. We've heard that being poor can ripen from not giving when we had a chance to give. Being poor can ripen from stealing. Now we see this one. Being poor can be a result of past pride. Right? To be a beggar, needing to beg to get our needs met, can be a result of having thought, all along, my needs are more important than others. And so taking care of me and mine over others, we can see how that works. The next one is pride will make us lose our authority and power. We'll be in positions where somebody else is always in charge. And it's like, maybe that's not a bad thing for someone else to be in charge. In which case, it's not a ripening of a negative seed, still subtly negative because of ignorance. But when we are under the authority and power of another and it's unpleasant for us, then it can be a ripening of past pride, because it's a ripening of when, because of our pride, we authorityed over others. And so you got to be a boss if you're a boss at work. But you can be a prideful, arrogant boss, or you can be a boss, right? A functional boss. So just to be in the position of authority doesn't mean you have the pride that's going to make you be pushed into being under authority. Depends on how we use it, right? The next one, pride will make us stupid. So our intelligence is one of the things we tend to get prideful about and use it over others. And if that's the seed that ripens the next life, right, we get even a human life where we just don't have the intelligence. Next one, pride will make our physical appearance ugly to others. I remember in other classes, Geshe-la has pointed out that, yes, the human body ages, and as it ages, it wrinkles and it sags and it gets less and less beautiful. But it isn't because it's aging, it's because the karmic goodness that's ripening as young and vital and attractive are wearing out and not being replaced by helping others be young, attractive, and beautiful. So it's our negativity that's ripening that forces us to feel and look less and less attractive to society. It is possible to get more and more attractive as you age. It's all driven by our karmic seeds, of course. Next one. Somebody move. Pride. Pride will make us lose our confidence. Wait a minute, pride is our confidence. Right. Overuse your confidence, impose yourself onto others, and the result of that is no confidence at all. So here's another way to manage the low self-esteem, right? Or even the kinds of depressions that come on from, I can just never do it well, never do it good enough. That it's like we don't have any pride when we have that state of mind. And yet it was too much that made that state of mind. No wonder it's so hard to overcome low self-esteem. Because I don't know, there must be some part of our mind that knows that it was pride that brought it on in the first place. So we won't even let ourselves get confident enough because, oh my gosh, it'll cause pride and I'll be right back here again. But wrong thinking. Because it's ignorant pride that causes that, not wise pride. Then lastly, the results of pride can be that others abuse us physically and verbally. That's curious. Past pride will give us the experience of others being abusive towards us. You know, that's probably not the only reason for being a victim of abuse, but it can be one of them. And it isn't something that we would think of. But the reasoning would be if because of my pride, I was abusive to others. That's why it would come back to me as people being abusive because from my pride seeds. So we want to grow our confidence, our steadfastness, our determination, and be on alert for that sliding into this wrong pride. It becomes wrong pride when we are thinking, oh, because I know and live by seeds, I know better than the other person. And so they should do what I say. They should do for me because I'm better. And the goodness that we've created in ourselves is being destroyed as we have those attitudes or those thoughts, because they are the opposite of what grew those good qualities in the first place, which was, I care about others' happiness. I'm trying to bring about others' happiness. We can have confidence and not let that go into this self-existent pride. It must happen, or he wouldn't spend so much time pointing it out to his group of monks who set up to humiliate him. Remember the situation we're in? Okay. So Gyaltsab's commentary, he says, the Bodhisattva deeds, like the sun, shines on the earth. When the sun comes up, there can be a person standing out in the field, and they'll see the beauty of the sunrise. They'll feel it. There can be a blind person standing out in the field. They won't see the beauty of the sunrise. They'll feel it. And there can be a person standing inside a building or behind a building, and they won't see the sunrise and they won't feel the sunrise. Does the sun change its shiningness because one person sees it, two of them doesn't? No, the sun just shines, regardless of who's experiencing it and what they are experiencing. Those others' experience of the sun ripening their own seeds. The sun just shines happily. A bodhisattva shines their compassion, wisdom in every circumstance, regardless of the apparent result they get. Oh, doesn't that mean I should impose my worldview on others? I should impose my worldview on others, even if it upsets them. Do you want to have someone else's worldview be imposed upon you? No, then don't do it. Well, then how do I influence that other person? Hold the door open for them. Anticipate something. Anticipate something they might like. Anticipate something they might like. I can't get it out before you freeze again. Just try, right? Try to bring some happiness. We don't know what will bring happiness to another until we are omniscient. The way we grow the seeds that will help us remove the obstacles to omniscience is to just try. Try to be kind. Try to be helpful in all those different ways that our vowed behaviors guide us in. Whether we take them as vows or not, they are still beautiful guidelines. Whether we take them as vows or not, they are still beautiful guidelines. What to avoid, flip them around over to what to do. And then design your new you. And then go out into the world and try it on for size. So then he goes on in describing this Bodhisattva's confidence that is not pride, ignorant pride, to saying that the Bodhisattva is so confident in their worldview and so their choice of behaviors that they will take on their task whether anybody else helps them or not. I'll do it myself, said the little red hen. Did you grow up with that book? I only have one other American here. Chris, you know that book, The Little Red Hen. This story, this little chicken, she decides she wants to make a pie, a triple berry pie, but she has to grind the wheat and make the flour and right. So she goes to the other barn animals. Oh, pig, will you help me gather the wheat? Not I, says the pig. Oh, horse, will you help me grind the wheat? Not I, says the horse. Right? And she doesn't get any help from anybody. And she makes these delicious pies. And then what does she do with them? Does she eat them all by herself? Does she eat them all by herself? No, she shares them with the pig and the horse and the blah, blah, blah. Right? This little Bodhisattva chicken. Like, I remember from when I was 4 years old. It's this Bodhisattva attitude. I'll do it myself. And understanding how everything we experience is a result of our own mind seeds. We understand better and better that every future experience will be a result of the seeds I plant now and now and now and now. So it really is this me's responsibility to make the pies and share them with others, whether anybody else helps me or not. And it's so difficult because that gets misunderstood when we still have our ignorant me seeds. They force us to feel taken advantage of. They force us to go into the, yeah, what about me? Like I did it yesterday and it immediately came back to me. It was so great. And then it's like when you recognize those experiences, don't beat yourself up. Recognize it's seeds ripening. Hallelujah. Get it out of me. Continue to try to plant those seeds of trying to be the source of happiness for somebody else. It's kind of sweet because we don't even have to actually succeed, because we can't succeed in the moment in being the source of happiness for somebody else unless their seeds ripen happiness. All we have to do is try. That's not so hard. And it doesn't in the least bit negate the power of our effort. Everything we do is not causing what comes next, which is why we do what we do. To create a world where it appears that what we do causes what's next. Because it appears that we grab the doorknob, turn it, pull, and the door opens. That's a good seed ripening to have opened the door. But it wasn't from grabbing the doorknob. It was from holding the door open for somebody else. It's really fun to try to think those things through and to watch our mind go, no, because otherwise the door would open without my needing to hold a handle and turn it. But guess what? That happens all the time. When you go to a store and the door's just open, right? So you'll see a verse about the crow. A crow will act like a great Garuda bird when the snake is dead. So the great Garuda bird is this huge, big eagle-like creature, mythical creature. And for some reason, that bird hates snakes. So the instant they become aware of a snake, boom, they go grab it and kill it. And then there's the crows, that the crows won't get close to a snake because they're terrified of snakes. But when the snake is dead, the crow acts like this great Garuda bird, and he grabs the snake and it, whips it all around as if he's killing the snake, but he can only do it because the snake's dead. So he's using this analogy. It's like, yes, we want the confidence of the Garuda bird to take on even a snake. But we might act like a crow, only willing to take on a situation that's puny, like the snake already being dead. And he sounds like he's criticizing us, but actually he's saying, no, be the crow at first. The starting with carrots and potatoes is like the crow. I can step into this place and increase my giving as long as all I have to do is give my extra. And then we push it a little bit. We do that, grow some seeds, do that, plant some seeds. And then what we find is that, no, I don't just give my extra. When I see a need, I want to share, right? I'll give. I won't wait till I have extra, I'll just give. And it wasn't any harder than the carrots and potatoes. And then our goodness grows, our confidence in our ability to choose kindness grows, and the situation changes, but it's just as effortless. So we keep doing our small deeds. We keep doing our small deeds. And they still look like small deeds. But if we were able to step out and look, it would be, wow, that's a big deed. But we did it so effortlessly, painlessly, because of the way we've been cultivating our seeds. All right, we're over time. I have one more concept to give you. May I continue? Okay, if you need to go, feel free. It'll kind of be on the recording. So as we are growing our Bodhisattva deed confidence, we are trying to bring happiness to others. And our arena of bringing happiness to others is our worldly life. And the conundrum becomes how do we interact with those worldly, supposedly pleasant things without perpetuating suffering by doing so. He says, the happinesses of samsara are like licking honey from a razor blade. That line, the last line on our vocabulary, Pudri sor chakpe drangsi. Drangsi is honey. If you had a glob of honey sitting on a razor blade and you didn't know it was a razor blade, you'd go, oh, honey, blow that. Ow, right? It just makes me cringe to even say it. Ignorant pleasures are like licking honey off a razor blade. The misunderstanding of thinking the pleasure comes from the triple berry pie. I might as well have just slashed my tongue as enjoyed the pie. And it's hard because it does not mean don't bother enjoying anything ever again. Because that's not the pie that is the razor blade. It's the misunderstanding of the misunderstanding of what made the pie in the first place. It wasn't the little red hen. It was my own past attempt to bring someone some worldly pleasure because I understand karma and emptiness that brought me the pleasure of a triple berry pie. We don't have to know karma and emptiness to bring pleasure to another person. Having wisdom in mind as we bring pleasure to a person shows us that it may or may not bring them the pleasure we intended. And we know that we planted seeds in our mind for pleasure with wisdom, which is not honey on a razor blade when it ripens. So worldly pleasures themselves are not suffering. It's the ignorance with which we engage them that makes the razor part. Because our ignorance makes us believe that the pleasure comes from the object and experience. And so our ignorance makes us willing, grossly or subtly, to harm another to get or keep that pleasant thing. The willingness to harm another. Grossly or subtly. Does it harm another to eat the last piece of berry pie without sharing it with somebody? I don't know. Yeah. I enjoy the pie and then it's gone. Somebody else comes along. They could have enjoyed the berry pie, but it's gone because I ate it. Well, so does that mean you always leave the last piece forever? Somebody has to eat the last piece. Maybe the Bodhisattva eats the last piece, but only after you've given all the rest of it away. I don't, it gets slippery, really. So the fall guy says, sounds great, can't do it. You don't know my life. Right? It's too hard. I can't possibly. And Master Shantideva says, there's nothing we can't change if we don't try to change ourselves. We can train ourselves. Our mind is infinitely available to see itself do anything. So we train ourselves. He says, for example, if someone gave you a bowl full of oil, like full to the brim, and said, carry that bowl of oil across the room and don't spill a drop, we would say, don't give me that bowl of oil. I can't do it. They give it to you anyway, and they hold the sharp knife to your throat. And they say, carry this bowl across without spilling it, or I'll kill you. We could do it. We would do it. Given enough time, we would do it. There's nothing we can't do as long as our motivation is strong enough to apply ourselves. We are capable of anything good, anything bad, actually. All of it is driven by motivation and intention. So if we are not living 24/7, moment by moment from karma and emptiness, once we know its truth, it's only because we either don't fully believe or we aren't motivated enough to apply ourselves. Like, this is the chapter in Don't Get Discouraged, and he's chewing us out at the end. But it's by way of saying, look, this happens to all of us on the Bodhisattva path. We start small, we train. The training begets the training begets the training. It finally transforms. I don't know that it ever transforms beyond training. You as Buddha, it's not like you're done and suddenly you are a self-existent Buddha and you don't have to do anything else. It's like finally we are Buddha and we start our career as fully enlightened being. We will still plant and ripen seeds of a mind stream. I don't know, you'd have to call it a mind ocean by then. But the process isn't going to stop. The process of helping others. Helping. Trying to help. Arya Nagarjuna said, the nasty thing about samsara is that when we hurt somebody, the karma does not come back right away. Because if it did, how many bugs would you crush if as you crush the bug, your own chest crushes? Hopefully none, because you see it happen to somebody else. We would be keenly motivated to avoid harming if what we did came back to us right away. So Geshe-la finished his class. He said, so let's cultivate our Dharma awareness as if there is a knife at our throat. Because there is. Right? We don't know that we'll be alive 4 minutes from now. So we have this opportunity to plant seeds. Like it's not an opportunity. We are seed planting. Let's use it. Let's use it to garden our future experiences. Okay. That's class. Thank you for the extra minutes. Thank you for the extra minutes. So, Kongli, let's do our dedication, and then I'll stay for questions, and anybody who needs to go can go. So remember that person we wanted to be able to help. We've learned a lot that we are and will use to help them in that deep and ultimate way. And that's an extraordinary goodness. So please be happy with yourself. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone you can hold in your hands. A beautiful glowing gemstone you can hold in your hands. Recall your own precious holy being. See how happy they are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please stay close, to continue to guide you, help you, inspire you, and then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And they carry it with them right back into your heart. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom, it feels so good. We want to keep it forever, and so we know to share it. By the power of the goodness that we've just done, may all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that one person, with everyone you love, with every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with loving kindness, filled with the wisdom, and may it Okay, thank you so much. So Kongli has a question and Chris has a question, right?
I just have a quick comment.
I ask first. Can?
Okay.
Okay, very short one. Actually, teacher, you know the Geshe book Secret Garden.
Yeah.
You are very, and then this one I was just wondering. Inside there, Geshe-la is talking to all the master, and they have conversation. So and then asking what he wants to know, and then I was just wondering whether if let's say uh, if let's say your meditation is good enough, you really can see all the master. So
Yes.
yeah, it keep me, quite. I mean, I keep it inside my mind for quite some time already.
Yes. Yes.
Really,
Yes, it can happen.
and we can invite them.
You can invite them.
Oh,
When you invite them in your meditation, and whether you're a good visualizer or not a good visualizer, they are, if they are fully enlightened beings, they are there. They are there. And then our awareness of them, oh, for crying out loud.
uh-huh. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Our awareness of them, right, is according to artsies. So if you're a visualizer and you see them there, the stronger that you can say, okay, I think that they're there in my imagination, But in fact, I know they're there. And they are aware of me and my questions. And we can ask a question and
Uh,
then stop and listen.
oh, oh, that's great. Okay.
And you know, you may actually, like a thought will pop into your mind and it'll sound like your own mental voice.
Uh-huh.
And then you ask questions about that thought. You can have a conversation with them. And it seems like
Ah,
it's all in your imagination, and it
uh-huh.
is and it isn't. And you
Oh,
can gain great guidance. But
and
see, there's a danger there
uh-huh.
because, you know, can we be sure it's that fully enlightened being, or might it be a demon, or might it be my own ego
Uh,
telling me what to do, right? It's a little slippery path. So
oh,
the criteria always must be.
can't hear
I'll
you.
wait till you come back. That right,
Ah,
I stopped. The
okay, okay.
criteria always must
Ah,
be, is what I just learned consistent with what I've been taught, right?
okay.
If that holy being says, Kong Li, your holy Lama would really love it if you would go rob a bank and give them all the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's up to you to decide, was that really my holy being saying that?
Mm.
Or was that something uh
Ah, okay.
trying to badly influence me? What am I
Mm-hmm.
supposed to do with that information? So,
Okay.
Was
right.
that
But
my
yes,
was that my mother asking me to kill Nagarjuna?
there you go. Was that really my mother? Right.
Uh, so this means that if let's say I have a good teacher, I mean, who I want to follow, then in this case I can check with him or her so
Yes.
that see whether this one is, I mean, is true, or I can talk to them,
Right.
or is it something like that?
Right. Before you act on what your meditative experience direction,
Ah,
you check it in your own mind. You don't have to go to your lama and
mm,
check. You check according to what that lama has already taught you.
ah,
Would robbing a bank to get
mm,
money for my holy being come back
mm,
to me as a good thing?
mm-hmm.
If
Okay.
you decide yes, then do it. If you decide no, then you think, well, what were they trying to show me or teach me by telling
Uh,
me that? Right?
okay. Yeah. So,
Like that.
can I just want to confirm, if let's say really can do it, which means that, I have a directions. I
Yes.
mean, yeah, thank you so much. Yes,
Yes, you
Chris.
can.
Yeah, that.
Yay. We all can. Thanks. Yes, Chris.
I just wanted to point out the obstacles that we're up against because I looked up the fable of the little red hen and she eats the pie all by herself.
No, not in my book.
She does in if you go to the AI and most all of the other versions,
Is that right?
she says, "Who will help me eat the pie?" And then where it goes, and then she says,
Ah,
you didn't help me. And then in some versions, her chicks eat with her, and in some versions, she gives the farm animals a second chance, saying, "Well, if next time you help me." So we're kind of,
oh,
so there's a lot of versions where we're taught,
isn't that interesting?
with the misunderstanding right there in the whole tale.
Right, right, right.
You don't want to be a little red doormat, you know.
That's so interesting to me
It's funny,
because
huh?
it's so radical for her to feed everybody else when they rejected her. Oh
Yeah,
man,
that's not what mainstream
no,
is taught.
that's right. Well, I had the 1950s version of the Little Red Hen. That's what I grew
Oh,
up with.
maybe it was altered to for our benefit.
I wonder. Interesting. Thanks for checking
Anyway,
on that. That's such a great lesson.
thank you. So,
All right. Thank you, my dears. Thank you for the extra time. I apologize for the internet and my karma being inconsistent. I'll do better. Okay. Have a nice weekend. I will see you Monday morning. Okay. Thanks, everybody who's doing their homework. Okay. Bye-bye. Oh, wait, I got to stop my. Yikes, yikes, yikes.